Hello everyone and welcome to another Liverpool Transfer Talk episode on Football Talk Podcast. My name is Ozzy and I'm your host for today's show. Not a busy week in the room mill for Liverpool, but I've managed to gather up 10 rumours for us to discuss. Now if there's a target that I've missed, feel free to drop a comment and we can discuss the player together. But we'll start with the first rumour of today's show, and that is Mark Guehi. Now, it's not a reliable source that is reporting this news, but apparently discussions have been taking place already between both clubs. Personally, I don't believe that's the case, and it's just certain media outlets taking advantage of a name who's had a good Euro for England. And, yes, he's had a great performance in the competition, but is he the right defender for Liverpool? Profile-wise, he fits the bill. He's a left-footed centre-back who can play in a back three or a back four, and he can also play as a left back if required. I think he's a decent player, but I just don't see him as Liverpool quality. He's a solid player, but I think there's better options out there in the market. And he's also valued at 60 million, which is very steep in my opinion. United have just signed Lenny Euro for around the same price, and I would consider him to be a better prospect or someone that has a higher ceiling. But let's see. If there was some truth to rumour, I wouldn't be annoyed, but at the same time, I don't think I'll be overly excited about the move either. Not the first time we've been linked with this player, and honestly, I don't think there's any weight to the story. Now, Koopmeiners is always going to be linked with a move to Liverpool, as he's a former player that has played under Onslaught in the past for AZ Alkmaar. But there was some news surrounding Koopmeiners earlier today, as it looks like he's apparently agreed personal terms with Juventus. Now, the only reason the move has not been concluded is because Juventus need to sell in order to raise some funds, and they're on the verge of selling Sule to Leicester City. So it looks like Koopmeiners will be remaining in Serie A, and he will be joining the old lady very soon. So that rumour is one that goes to bed. So now we can move on to the next rumour, and that is Karim Adeyemi. An interesting rumour, as it's a player we've been linked with in the past, and that is from his Red Bull Salzburg days. He's a player that possesses unbelievable speed and is a lethal finisher in front of goal. But last season, he wasn't in good goal-scoring form. In all comps, he played 33 times and scored 5 goals with 2 assists. And that's quite low for an attacking player. But you could regard last season as a blip, as he's still quite young and has plenty of time to develop his game. But is he the right player to add to our squad? I would have some reservations if I'm being honest. Profile-wise, he does fit the bill. He's a left-footed player who can play left wing, right wing, and even through the middle as a striker if required. But if he joins Liverpool, he will simply be a squad player. So that, for me, could harm his development. And at 22 years of age, he needs to be playing regular football. But there is a player with potential there. I just don't think it will be unlocked at Liverpool. It's official. Adrian has departed Liverpool and joins his boyhood club, Real Betis. Now, if you haven't seen the announcement video from Real Betis, you need to check it out. It's pretty cool. They've got Adrian running around the city like he's Rocky and training like he's up for a big fight. Adrian also released a video on the Liverpool social media accounts, and it was a nice touch from the player. He might not have been everyone's cup of tea, but at the end of the day, he did help the club win some trophies, and he was a popular figure in the dressing room. So all we can say is all the best to Adrian. You'll never walk alone. Now let's stick to internal affairs. Sepp Vandenberg has once again come out and said he wants to be sold by the club. He's clearly not happy to return to Liverpool, which confuses me. This is, for me, the perfect time and opportunity for the player to stake a claim in the first team squad. We've just released Joe Matip, and we haven't replaced him directly. That would open the door for Sepp Vandenberg to focus on pre-season and showcase his talent. Not to mention, we now have a Dutch coach in Onslaught, so you would think he would be given a chance and use this time as a clean slate under new management. But nope, that is not the case for Vandenberg. Now, we don't know the ins and outs of conversations between the club and the player. For all we know, the club may have said to him that you're deemed surplus to requirements and you're not good enough to play for Liverpool, so you should probably look elsewhere. So if that is the stance, then obviously you can expect a reaction from the player. But it's not very clear where the club currently stands. But what we do know is that Liverpool are asking for 20 million for Vandenberg. PSV have shown strong interest in the player, but the fee could price them out of the running, and that's frustrated Vandenberg yet again, and understandably, and that's probably why he's been a bit more vocal in the media. Now, I don't think the club will hold out for 20 million. If they get, happy days, but I think they'll be satisfied with a fee of around 15 million, and I think that would be good business, and I think it'd be a useful amount of money to put into the budget, and it will allow the club to part ways with the player. It's a strange situation, but I'm sure we'll be hearing some further updates in the coming weeks. Now, this rumour has been gathering the pace in the last few days, and that's Mohamed Sikaman, who's been linked with a move to the Reds. He's a centre-back by trade that can also play at right-back. An interesting profile, as I'm sure most of us were thinking or expecting Liverpool to sign a left-sided centre-back, as that makes more sense. And I totally agree with that notion. But maybe the idea is that Trent moves to midfield, the club would need to find a direct right-back replacement, and I think Sickerman will fit that bill. From what I've seen, he's an aggressive player, reads the game very well, and is technically decent. He's a more defensive-minded player if he was to play at right-back, and that could be something that Onslaught is after. So let's see what happens with the rumour. I do think we have genuine interest in the player. Whether we make a move in this window or in the future remains to be seen. Now, you thought I might forget to address the elephant in the room, but I can't ignore this one. We need to have a discussion with regards to Trent Alexander-Arnold. I don't know if it's because of the silence from the club and also the player that's making me nervous, but I'm feeling very nervous about Trent's future at the club. I don't know why, but I just feel like he might be ready to leave the club. And I don't want to put that energy out there, but that's just my gut instinct right now. I think it might be because he doesn't feel like he gets the respect he deserves in England. He's always under the microscope for his defensive duties, but he's never applauded for when he does show his defensive ability in games. He was also planted as a scapegoat for England before the Euros began, but because he didn't play much in the latter stages, no one could point the finger. In fact, his penalty helped England progress into the competition. But from a Liverpool perspective, the departure of Jurgen Klopp really hit him, and I think it hit him the most. He's the only club coach that he's played under, and Klopp was the one that brought him in from the academy to the first team and helped him become the player he is today. So Onslaught has some work to do to make sure he has this conversation with Trent and make him believe that he is pivotal in the club's long-term vision. And a discussion will have to take place with regards to his position in the team. Will he be given the license to play midfield, or will he remain as a right back? Only time will tell. But something just doesn't feel right to me. It doesn't help that one of his closest friends is Jude Bellingham, so he could be playing a part in persuading him to join Real Madrid. We all know Real Madrid are in the pursuit of finding Carvajal's long-term successor, and with Trent being a generational talent at right back, it's no surprise that they're in pursuit to sign Trent. Will it happen? I really hope it doesn't, as I would be devastated if he had left. I think he's got much more to give and could go up another level if he plays for Liverpool. And I don't even care what amount of money Real Madrid are willing to offer. I think all the offers should be turned down. But you let me know what you guys think. Should we cash in on Trent or sign him up for a contract extension? Now, a player that has lit up the Euros, and that's Dani Olmo. He's played a huge part in Spain's success, and with no surprise, he's been linked with a move away from his current club, which is Red Bull Leipzig. Now, apparently, he has a release clause of £50 million, which is not very high in this day and age. But do I see Liverpool pursuing the player in this window? I'm not so sure. I don't think the club are in the market to sign an attacking midfielder, as we have quite a few at the club with the likes of OZWRLD, Harvey Elliott, and Curtis Jones. He's a player I really rate and have done for quite a while now, but I think the club will invest in other areas of the squad, i.e., the defense mainly, and won't waste the budget on signing another midfielder. So, unfortunately, I don't see Liverpool bringing out the checkbook for this player. Now, this rumor has not faded away and is still circulating, but this time the headline is different. And the headline suggests that Jeremie Frimpong is dreaming of a move to Liverpool. You all know how I feel about the player. I think he's a fantastic talent and would be a great asset for the team, but it would depend on his role. If he was to come in to play at right back, I would have some reservations on his defensive duties. But as a right wing back or even as a right winger, I think he would do a great job. So that got me thinking. We all assume he's been linked with the club because of Trent Alexander-Arnold and possibly come in to play at right back, or maybe if Trent moves into midfield, there's an opening there. So whether Trent stays at the club or not, it doesn't really hinder the pursuit for Jeremie Frimpong. But I think there may be another reason why we're looking at signing Frimpong. What if Liverpool are trying to sign him to be Salah's backup as a right winger? We don't have anyone in the squad that can play in that position naturally or to the highest level, especially when Salah's not available. Salah could also be playing in a more central role this season, so that would present an opening for someone to take that right wing position. To top it off, Frimpong could cover right back because he has played that there in his younger days, right wing back, and also right wing. So he would be the perfect signing for the squad to cover that right flank. And apparently he's available for £35 million. Now that signing has got FSU written all over it. 35 million is our sweet spot when it comes to transfer fees. Frimpong is also young and versatile, and I believe he could be registered as a homegrown player as he came through the ranks of Manchester City. Now, I would be over the moon if this signing was to happen, and I think it makes perfect sense for us to go all in on Jeremie Frimpong. The final room of today, and it's not 2023, but we are still pursuing Sporting's Inacio. The rumor is that he could be possibly joining Liverpool in this summer window. But the slight difference sort of narrative of this rumor now is that he has a £50 million release clause, and apparently Liverpool regard him as a top priority signing. Now, he's a decent player, don't get me wrong, but I'm not buying it. I don't think there's any truth to the rumor, and I think this is just his agent trying to engineer a move for his client. He fits the profile in terms of what we're looking for, but I don't see the club signing a player or meeting a release clause of £50 million where you've got to pay cash straight away. But I could be wrong, as there's no real indication of what the budget is at the club. So we'll just sit here patiently and see if any transfer deals are pending. Right now, it's very quiet from Liverpool's perspective. So let's see how the coming weeks are going on for Liverpool. Before we end the show, I've got a few comments here. Got a comment here from Mazzy474. Big up yourself, Mazzy. He says, bro, Man United are making signings and I'm getting vexed. When do you think Liverpool will make signings and who could they sign? Thanks. Let me just have a sip of water because yeah, we've got a lot to discuss on this one. You're correct in terms of Man United signing players. It's a tricky one. The players that they've signed, they are good players, and they won't be household names to a lot of people. But they're signing players that will fit into their system, and it's the right profile. Young players that are on the verge of hitting that next level. So OZWRLD had a fantastic season for Bologna and looks like a really talented player. My only question mark with regards to that signing was that he's still a young player. Would they not rather have signed someone with more experience? But I think this is the model that they're going for, young and up-and-coming players. And that's why they've broken the bank to get Euro as well. Now, I know a lot of Liverpool fans, and I'm sure you're the same as well, Mazzy, in terms of being annoyed by the fact that we haven't signed Euro, because Euro is a player that we were highly sought after. We were one of a few clubs linked with him, and for some reason we didn't pursue him. We just annoyingly ended our interest because we assumed that the player was just ready to go to Real Madrid. We didn't really actively hunt him down and make sure he joins us, and that's the frustrating part with FSG. I think they have valuations for certain players, and if it exceeds that ball mark, they just tend to walk away from deals. So I understand your frustration, and I know a lot of other fans are frustrated as well. It's because it's so quiet from our part. We just don't know what's going on. They might just pull out a rabbit from the hat and present a signing that we just didn't expect. Who knows? The indication from Richard Hughes in the first press conference that he did alongside Onslaught suggests that they're playing the waiting game, or they expect to be more active around August due to the Euros and Copa America taking up a lot of the time in July, so it's difficult to get deals done. So I'm hoping to hear some news in the coming weeks, because right now, even this show that I did today, I was struggling to gather up rumors because there hasn't been much circulating from a Liverpool perspective. So yeah, it's frustrating, but don't worry too much about what other clubs are doing. Chelsea was signing a lot of players last year. They weren't the right players for the team, if that makes sense. So yes, Euro and Xerxes are good signs for United, but you have to look at the manager. It might not fit his style of play. So just because they're good players doesn't mean they'll be an instant success. So I'll just say stay patient. We've still got just over 5 weeks. So hopefully we get some news about some signings. I'd be very surprised if we don't sign a single player in this window. Very surprised. But the players, they've just joined preseason. We're playing our first game next week. So hopefully once we've played a couple games, we'll be in the notion of trying to get some deals done. But hey, it's a waiting game, and hopefully, we won't be as vexed as we're feeling right now, and we'll be in better spirits in the coming weeks. Just got a comment here from Raj. We got Raj. He says, "Can you explain to us how Lenny went to United when we wanted him?" How did Lenny go to United? Yes, so it's the same point there. So, from what I've heard, I think it was down to the transfer fee. I think we had a set valuation of the player. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think he went for around 55, 60 million pounds mark. I think we were probably only willing to pay 40, 45. That was our valuation of the player. So technically, we've walked away from the deal because we thought, one, he's too much from what we value of him, and also I think the main thing is that they expected Euro to join Real Madrid. I don't think they expected him to sign for United. I did read something from Daily Mail, but Daily Mail is not a highly regarded source. They mentioned that because Euro was on his last year of his contract at his previous club, Lille, suggested that if he didn't agree a move to Manchester United, he'll be playing reserve football for the remaining season. So, believe it if you will, I feel like it does feel like it was slightly forced that he joined Manchester United. We all know he had his heart set on a move to Real Madrid. He'll get that move one day, maybe in a year or two. I'm very sure he will get that move. So don't expect him to be at United for too long. That's probably the silver lining that I can present right now. But yes, I agree. And I know a lot of fans are frustrated in terms of why we didn't pursue the player. FSG just didn't think he was worth the money. And from their perspective, I do understand because he was a player who's 18, 19 years old. He's on his last year of his contract. He shouldn't be worth that much. That's a premium price that Manchester United had paid, but they might get some rewards out of that because generally when they spend big, it's down to a player that's a big name or a household name. Euro is a very highly regarded player, but he's not a star yet, but he's a star in the making, if that makes sense. So maybe they thought, let's go for someone young and up and coming, and let's see what he does. But United have a lot of work to do. He can't just be the main signing. They will need to sign a defensive partner for him in order for him to excel. But from a Liverpool perspective, yes, it's very frustrating. But let's see what kind of business to do at the end of the season, or should I say, end of this window, and let's see how it goes. But right now, yeah, even if you're the most positive of Liverpool fans, you have to be slightly concerned why there hasn't been any activity going on with regards to transfers. Yes, I know we've got a new coach and all that stuff, but I'm sure he's watched the Liverpool games in the past. There would have been areas where he feel like there's weaknesses or areas that could be improved. So it can't just be based on he needs to see everyone in the flesh. He should have an idea of certain players that need to be upgraded, or certain players might need to leave in order to make space for another player to come in. So let's see. We've got to be patient because there hasn't been much for us to kind of lean on in terms of news and rumors. Let's just take the silence as a positive, where maybe they're cooking something in the background. Who knows? That's me trying to be as positive as possible. And your other comment is, do you think we will sign a top DM? I'm hoping we sign a DM. Whether it's a top DM remains to be seen. There aren't many available in world football. Obviously, I think the one that a lot of fans would have liked is Jeremie, but I don't think that's realistic or possible in this day and age. Who else is out there? I was singing out the name of Yusuf Fofana in my previous transfer shows. He was available for 25 million. I'm not sure what the situation is with him right now. A player that we were linked to last season, Catherine Turan, he's actually made his move to Juventus now. So the options are running down. Palini's gone to Bayern Munich. Onana, I know he plays for Everton. It would have been difficult to get that deal done, but he's moved over to Aston Villa. That move is about to be completed this week. So I don't know. There are players out there. Even Max Weaver, the final midfielder, he's gone to Brighton. So they all seem to be moving around. Liverpool just stuck in the mud. They don't know what they're doing right now. Yeah, it is slightly worrying, but I'm trying to hold it together and just, yeah. I'm waiting for preseason. I'm intrigued to see how Onslaught plays the team in terms of the style, the formation, the system. That's what I'm intrigued about. And obviously, once we've got a couple of games under the belt, we can hopefully hear some transfer rumors or we can get some deals concluded. But yeah, I know a lot of fans are frustrated, but this is FSG. They don't move very quickly when it comes to transfer. We'll have to be patient and let's see what happens. But yeah, that's all I can say for today. But hopefully, we'll get some better news in the coming weeks. And that is the end of the show. So thank you so much for everyone for tuning in. Thank you to Mazzy and Raj for your comment. Appreciate your engagement as always, guys. If you haven't already, please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. In terms of upcoming content, I will be doing another transfer talk show next Tuesday. That will be around 10 p.m. UK time. And then I'll be doing a follow up of this show, Liverpool Transfer Talk Show. That will be next Thursday again around this time, or possibly a bit earlier, maybe 10 p.m. So, best thing to do is hit that notification bell so you know what time the shows will be going live. And then also follow me on social media at Aussie.ftp on Instagram for all the latest updates. And also, I mentioned this earlier in the show, Liverpool are playing their first preseason game next weekend against Real Betis. So we could be reunited with Adeyemi once again. That game is taking place on the 27th of July. It's a 12:30 a.m. kickoff as it's been taking place in the US. So I'm planning on doing a watch along for that game. So feel free to join the stream and send your comments and let me know what you think of the game whilst we're watching it. So hopefully we'll be doing a lot more watch alongs in the coming season. We'll be doing transfer shows until the end of August, and hopefully we'll have a lot more to talk about with Liverpool. But that is it for today. Just got a couple comments here from Richard. Says, hi, Ozzy. Big up, Richard. I hope you're well. He said we should have done preseason UK. Yeah, I always feel like it's better to do it in Europe and in the UK in terms of transport and just not traveling too much, especially with the boys who've just come back from international duty. They've already done a lot of traveling itself. So but with this sort of stuff, it's all about marketing. It's all about trying to appeal to new markets and attract a new fan base when you go to different parts of the world. So from a marketing perspective, I do understand. It's only 2-3 games. I think it's Real Betis, and then we're playing Arsenal, and then we're playing Manchester United. So the two English teams that are playing against, that's going to be interesting. I know it's in the States, but for me, it's all about the players gearing up to full fitness. And, if they're testing themselves against Arsenal and Manchester United, that would be a good start and could put us in a great position for the start of the season. And you also said season starts 17th. Is it 17th of August? Let me double check that. I thought it was a bit earlier. Let me have a look. Yeah, you're right. It is 17th. Okay. Yeah, so that is literally, that's what you know, time is flying by. That is literally a month away. It's the 19th today. So, it's not long to go. Four more weeks. And then you've got an additional 2 weeks after that for the transfer window to close. Yeah, time is ticking. I hope the club are doing something in the back because right now, it doesn't feel like it. So, Ipswich is our first game. Away from home, a midday kickoff as usual. It's not tradition for the Premier League to not give us a midday kickoff so early in the season. But hey, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But looking forward to it. Interested to see if we do any business. And hopefully we'll have all of the boys back as well from the Euros and Copa America as well. Richard says we need players urgently. I totally agree. We do need some further additions in the squad. Our structure and transfer strategy with FSG is bad. It's not the best. I understand their business philosophy, but I feel like there's times where they just lack ambition or they don't push that extra mile to get a player. Like, for example, we've been talking about Euro today, and from what I've heard, I saw a clip. I'm not even sure what the journalist's name is, but he mentioned that Liverpool were very much in the hunt to sign Euro, but stepped away because they thought he was destined to go to Real Madrid. And also in terms of the transfer fee, they were willing to pay probably £5 or £10 million less than what Manchester United had offered in the end. So had the club been a bit more ambitious, you know, if you matched that offer, but really showed Euro that, you're the guy for us, you're the guy that's going to take over Van Dijk. You get to learn off Van Dijk until he leaves the club. Like, there would have been so much incentive for the player to join Liverpool. And if you wanted to get that move to Real Madrid in the future, so be it. But for now, you'd want to look at the short term and think that, this is the place to be for a young and up and coming player. We've showcased that last season where Jurgen Klopp gave a lot of young players a chance. And that is probably the reason why we would acquire some great young talents across the world, because of our philosophy in terms of giving young players a chance. But you've got to break the bank sometimes as well to acquire these young players, because they're all at different clubs. Euro's just turned 19, but he's already played over 60 games at his tender age. So it is frustrating. I can't lie, it is frustrating. I'm not going to throw all my eggs out of the basket in terms of that saying there, but yeah, I am concerned because there's not a lot of rumors circulating. There's no real idea of who we're trying to get. One week we're linked to a left-sided centre-back. This week we're linked to Sickerman, and he's a right-sided centre-back. So what's the profile? Arne Slot shut down all of us content creators and mentioned that he's never played a 4-2-3-1 formation. And that's what I've been talking about. That's what a lot of my other fellow content creators have been talking about as well. And a bit of a slap in our face in terms of that, because a lot of people said, and it's not just Liverpool content creators, it's people from the Netherlands, people that really follow Feyenoord, and he said, no, that's not how we play. We play a system where players take up on certain positions a bit more fluid to that sort of extent. So yeah, I'm just hoping they've got something lined up in the back, because the fan base is getting restless, and I understand it. I'm probably not, I'm not going to be very vocal about it until, if we're touching September and there's no change to the squad, that's when you're going to hear me, and I'm going to be very vocal if we haven't added any new players to the squad, because all the other teams are improving. They're adding players to their team. Why are we not doing it? We're not perfect. We came third last season. We didn't end the season very well. So there's definitely improvements in the squad that needs to happen. And yeah, I hope FSG deliver. But let's see. We've got about 5 weeks remaining. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm hoping that something is being worked in the background. Pedro has asked, any truth in Inacio joining Liverpool then? I'll be honest with you, I don't think there is, to be honest. That name's been forever linked to us for like the past year or so. And the latest news that I've heard is that he's got a 50 million release clause. We don't generally meet release clauses. I know we did it for Szoboszlai last season, but I think it was a player where if you went for him without a release clause, you would have paid a lot more money just due to the profile and the season that he had before he joined Liverpool. So with regards to Inacio, I think he's had a decent season for Sporting. He was in the Portugal squad as well. Watched him a couple of times. Looked solid. Didn't wow me in any shape or form. 50 million seems a bit steep for a player that I'm not sure if he's going to excel playing in our team. I feel like there's better players out there. If I was to throw a name, I like the look of Jorel Hato, who plays for Ajax, 18-year-old. If you haven't seen him in action, just watch a couple of compilations. You'll see why he's the guy that I wanted. I wanted Calafiori originally, but it looks like he's destined to go to Arsenal. So yeah, FSG aren't moving and other teams are. That's the fact right now, and that's how it is, unfortunately. Richard has said we need DM centre back and right wing. DM, I agree. Centre back, yeah, right wing. I mentioned this earlier on, Richard, where we've been heavily linked with Frimpong. I have a feeling that if there is any truth to that rumour, he's actually being brought in to be a backup for that right wing role. And I actually wouldn't mind. I think that'd be a very astute signing because he would cover right wing. He could play right wing back if that's a formation or a setup that Arsenal goes for. And he could also play right back. Yes, question marks in regards to his defensive duties, but he has played right back in the past. That's the position he grew up on. Played there for Man City in the youth ranks. He played there for Celtic as well. So more than capable of playing in that position. But I think his key assets or key traits in his game is a bit more attack-minded. And to be fair, he got some good numbers for Leverkusen last year. So 35 million is the release clause. That's the release clause I expect us to match. 50 million doesn't sound like too much away from 35, but FSG have valuations of certain players. If they exceed a little bit, they don't generally go for that player. So, yeah, I do agree. Those are the three areas I feel like the club need to improve. DM 100%. I just have a feeling we might not. Centre back, I think we will sign a centre back. Right wing, I'm not so sure. I'm hoping it's Frimpong where he covers a lot of positions. But right now, I don't know. I'm painting all these scenarios where I feel like Frimpong would be a great signing. He'd be a good squad player, would cover so many positions. But the club haven't given me any sort of inkling or evidence that that's the player we're trying to pursue or that's the area we're going to strengthen. It's really up in the air right now. So let's see what happens. Is Kelleher, Richard asking me, is Kelleher going to stay or go? So, not to sound like I'm on the fence, but it's 50-50 right now because I think he's come out in interviews speaking very highly of Arne Slot's training methods right now. So maybe he's enjoying that element and maybe he's content of playing as second choice for Liverpool, knowing that Liverpool will be hopefully competing for major honours. Whereas if he went to another club that's the mid-table team, he might not be able to experience what he would whilst playing for Liverpool. So that's the key decision for him. In terms of international football, I think his manager or coach, I'm not sure who it was now, has said he needs to leave in order to be number one for Ireland. So it depends on his ambitions. Does he want to be Ireland's number one? He can still be number one for Ireland if he's second choice at Liverpool because he is currently anyway. But I think he's just worried that if he stays as number two, the likes of Bazunu, who plays for Southampton, could take up that number one role for Ireland in the coming years. So I would like him to stay. If you'd asked me a few weeks ago, Richard, I probably would have said I expect him to leave. Right now, I'm not too sure. I feel like he might be happy to stay for another year. But hey, at this stage, very difficult to say. Richard says, Arsenal is a muppet to board and FSG. No initiative, no chance, no ideas. Yes, man vibes. Be by Onslaught. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. He's just walked in through the door. I think once we get some business underway, then we can kind of paint the picture in terms of what it is. He did mention in his interviews that the culture at European clubs is that the sporting director does all the groundwork and then he has the final say. So let's see. We've got to be patient. Anything can happen right now. We might be talking very negative, and then we sign a random player tomorrow. Liverpool have done that in the past, so we can't rule it out totally. Another comment from Richard, and he says, "Our transfer gossip news is all dream. FSG won't sell on players, right players, no ideas, penny pinching, and won't break the bank." Yeah, I do understand your point there. In terms of the players that were linked, they're not even dream signings, to be honest. They should be realistic signings for Liverpool. It's not like we're being linked with who would be like an obviously silly example, but like an Mbappe. Now we're not gonna go for the creme de la creme. We're gonna go for players that are showing good potential and they're just about to hit that next level to be top class. That's our recruitment strategy. But because there is inactivity right now, that's why a lot of fans are losing the faith. They're getting frustrated. They're concerned. And look, I can't tell you not to feel that. You have every entitlement to feel how you're feeling. I'm concerned. I can't lie, but I'm just playing the patient game where I'm using my calm demeanor to just say, you know what, let's see what happens. I'm sure something is happening in the background, and if it doesn't, then you know you're gonna hear it from me after the window closes. So yeah, things haven't changed at FSG. I know they were trying to do a deal with Bordeaux as a feeder club that broke down. I think they didn't want to spend money on, I think, further developments to their stadiums or something along those lines. So yeah, not looking good. Not looking good, to be fair. Pedro says, Richard, have some faith, mate. Yeah, I get your point there, Pedro. I think Richard is just frustrated, like a lot of people are from the fan base. But I'm in the middle, and I'm not just trying to be on the fence or trying to be diplomatic. You have to just wait. We've got 5 weeks, because we've had 2 international tournaments. I'm not expecting a lot of business to happen just because certain clubs have done it. I believe with OZZWRLD, United met a release clause, so they paid the release clause. Euro is the one that everyone, not everyone, it was PSG, and I think it was Madrid, United, and Liverpool that was strongly linked to the player. We kind of walked away. So I think the transfer deals are moving apace from this week, but you're going to see more names popping around in the coming weeks. So season's a month away, so there's plenty of time for us to recruit players. So yes, I do agree, have some faith, but at the same time, our track record with FSG shows that it doesn't always go to plan. But I'm hoping there is some sort of additions to the squad. There needs to be at least 1 or 2 additions, and I'm asking for the minimal here right now. I feel like it needs to be a little bit more. I'll probably say 3 or 4, but I'll be satisfied with 1 or 2, depending who they are. It might be a name that I haven't even mentioned in my shows, and there's a possibility that could be the case. So let's see. We have to be patient. We've got 5 weeks. We can't get frustrated because other clubs are doing business. It happens with Man United every summer, and this is probably a regular feeling between us fans in the Liverpool fan base, where you see United buying a household, and you think, oh, why are we not doing anything? But they always end up flopping. So just because they're making moves right now doesn't mean it's the right move. Those players might not settle in properly. They might not be the right fit for the coach, because I don't think Ten Hag has too much say in these signings. It might be from the hierarchy or the sporting director that they have. Is it Dan Ashton? I think it is, not from Newcastle. So yeah, we've got to see what happens with Liverpool. We've got to focus on ourselves, not to worry about the noise around us in the league. We need to focus on us. We've got a good squad. We just need a few more additions to really go for a charge next season. So let's see how it goes. And then Richard with another comment here says, we do our dealings in secret and low key. We're not going and fans potential, only FSG and board approved signings. Yeah, definitely agree in terms of we do things very low key. I don't mind that, to be honest with you. There's no harm in doing that. But yeah, because there has been very little, or I can't even be nice. There has been no activity with regards to transfer dealings. That's the frustration. That's the concern that a lot of fans are having. So we'll see in terms of FSG and the board. Yes, obviously they have the power to approve the dealings. I'm sure Arne Slot would have a say in terms of who comes in and who doesn't. And it should be a joint effort. But unfortunately, I can't say that with chest. We don't know the ins and outs in terms of how deals are concluded. We'll just have to take it for face value in terms of which players we see walking through that door, and hopefully we get some players walking through to Anfield very, very soon. And another comment here from Pedro Torres says, I bet Slot is thinking FSG will throw him under the bus. Why did I bother joining Liverpool? I hope not. That would not be the way to start his new job, where the owners throw him under the bus. They shouldn't, because as Richard said, we all know the structure. We're not stupid when it comes to, we don't know the ins and outs of how these dealings happen, but we know how FSU operates. So I'm intrigued to see who we sign. At this stage, I don't know if we're trying to sign low-key players, if we're trying to go for big names or experienced players, former players of honest law. I don't know. It's really up in the air, but we'll see. We'll see. We're touching just past mid-July, so it's not that. And I think because we're just used to transfers happening quite soon. Remember, the transfer deadline, the transfer window opens from 1st of July. So we've only been 2-3 weeks in. We've just finished 2 international competitions. So just give it some time. Hopefully, we'll get the deals done very soon. And hopefully, it's the signings that we want in terms of quality and upgrades to what we have in the squad. Because I think that's the key. I don't think we need a lot of squad players now. We need players that will come in and make a difference. So the profiles that Richard mentioned, centre back, for me, it needs to be someone that comes in right away. For me, it needs to be a left-sided centre back that is more than comfortable than at playing left back. And if I'm being honest, whoever that plays, I'll actually start them at left back. I just feel like tactically it makes more sense and it gives more of a balance to the team. I think defensive mid, we need to upgrade on Endo. And no offense, I think Endo was fantastic last season. But I feel like because he played more games than planned and or expected, he was definitely tired towards the latter stages. And yeah, he was run to the ground. So that's why, we need to upgrade on him. Bajic wasn't around. He's back. So yes, the favorite Liverpool saying it feels like it's a new signing. But I don't think that's enough. We need to get one top quality defensive midfielder. And I think that will help us solidify those roles, whether we play a single pivot or double pivot. At this stage, who knows? We haven't played a game of football yet under OZWRLD. So once we do, we'll have a better idea of the type of football we'll be playing and the system and the formation as well, which I'm interested in the coming weeks. So yeah, let's see how it goes. I know a lot of fans are frustrated, rightly so, but this will take time. It will take time. We'll see what we have under our sleeves, and hopefully the club reveals some signings very, very soon. So that is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for Richard and Pedro Toll for your comments. I appreciate it as always. We'll be back with our Liverpool Transfer Talk Show next Thursday again. Hopefully more rumours to discuss. I only did 10 today, and that felt like a struggle to find those names as well. So hopefully we'll have more to discuss, and hopefully some concrete news as well. But as always, guys, thank you for tuning in. Take care. Stay safe. Enjoy the weekend, and I hope to speak to you all next week. Goodbye.